Hey y'all, it's your favorite trader Jazz, and today I'm going to be going over the best trade that I ever took. The most money I've ever made in a day. It's the best trade I ever took. I'm going to show you all the screenshots of how the trade went down, and then I'm going to go to the computer and show you guys what the trade looks like on the chart. This was a while ago. This was in December 2022. And so I'm going to start off with the day before. So this screenshot was taken December 12th, 2022 at 2:01 p.m. And at this time, I was in Florida on a little vacation, and they were an hour behind. So this is actually 3 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So the market was just about to close. As you can see, I made $4,800 on the day, 11% of my total account, and my buying power was only $196 of that 46,000. So you know what that means. Basically, all my money was in trades. And this was also during a time where the market was just, everyone just thought we were just falling off a cliff. But I was seeing a bottom. And one term in trading, don't try to catch a falling knife. And so I don't want y'all to think that that's what I was doing, but I was seeing a bottom. Price action was showing me that a bottom was forming on a lot of my favorite stocks. And one of the stocks that I noticed a bottom was forming, support was holding, it was really, really low. Amazon was trading at $80 at this time. And I'm like, okay, I think the bottom's in. So I started scaling into a position. I started scaling into a call position. So as you can see, the last hour of the day, so this is 3:02 p.m., which is 2 minutes after the market closed because the hour behind, I made another $4,000 the last hour of the market for that power hour. And I talk about power hour a lot. Power hour is that time between 3 p.m. and 4 p.m. when investors will put in their last minute trades and just, the market is just very volatile. Sometimes the market is as volatile during the power hour as it is during the opening hour. And this gave me just a really good feeling. I had a really good feeling about the next morning with the power hour being so good the day before. And I'm like, okay, I think my calls are going to take off. The thing that I knew was really going to affect this bottom happening that I was seeing on the charts was that we had CPI coming out the very next morning before market opens. And so I'm like, okay, power hour is looking good, but CPI can completely erase all my gains for the day if the market doesn't like the CPI news. So I kept that in mind. Well, the very next day, December 13th, 2022, 8:30 a.m., which again was 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, I took the screenshot the millisecond that the market opened. My account was up $24,000. $24,000 my account was up just that split millisecond. You can see my put is down, but all my other calls were up and it made up for that put loss. And my account was up to $75,000. I'm like, oh my gosh. So I was starting to close things out. But with Robinhood, you got to do it one by one. So I was starting to close things out. I'm taking screenshots as I go. And this is before I had a Discord group, but I was actually in the process of building my course. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I got to get these screenshots. I got to get these screenshots. So I'm screenshotting things and I'm trying to close things out at the same time. So this next screenshot was taken it's still 8:30, and you can see a lot of the calls that I still had open. So I had a Tesla call open that was doing great, Netflix call that was doing great, the Roblox call, and I had 2 different Amazon call contracts that I was in. A $92 strike price call, I had 45 contracts of that, and that was up over $11,000 at the start of the market. So obviously the market liked the CPI news, at least for the short term. When I go into the charts, you'll see that it was just a pop and drop. So I'm glad I got out when I did, secured my profits. And then I also had another strike price Amazon call for a $90 strike price, and I had 55 contracts of that, and that was up over $17,000. So I made $30,000 on my Amazon contracts. Insane. So as you can see, this screenshot was taken, it's still 8:30. It's still 8:30 and I'm just still going up, still taking screenshots. So now I'm at $80,000 total for my account, $29,000 profit, just insane. And as you can see, my buying power has increased because I was starting to close things out, but I wasn't closing things out fast enough and the market was just going up and I was just like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. I've never seen this amount of money before. By the end of the day, I don't have that screenshot, but by the end of the day, I closed out with $83,000 total in my account. And I basically had everything closed and secured besides a couple of the puts that I was holding. So that was the best trading day ever for me. So I'm going to go to the computer now. I'm going to show you guys the Amazon chart. Between those two different strike price calls, I had 100 contracts invested in Amazon, and I'm going to show you guys why. All right, y'all. So this is the Amazon chart. It makes me sick. It makes me sick knowing that I actually called the bottom. So how I was saying in the beginning of this, how I was like, I feel like the bottom's in. Everybody was like, we're just going to the ground. I mean, we went from all-time high to all-time low in a matter of a year. I mean, 2022 was a bear market. We were just heading down, making lower lows and lower highs, as y'all can see here. I can draw a trend line to highlight this a little bit more. Very apparent that we were in a downward channel all of 2022. So December 2022, we were trading at $80 on Amazon, and people were like, oh, this is just ridiculous. We're just going to go down to nothing. And I'm like, I think the bottom is in. I was looking over here. I just saw that every single time we hit 80s before, we bounced. Sometimes it took a little while, like around here, it took a little while, but eventually we bounced, and that's exactly what we did, y'all. And it makes me sick. This is the trade, y'all. We got to zoom all the way in. So you would think that this was a big move. It wasn't even that big of a move, y'all. Wasn't even that big of a move. But I had 100 contracts. So that's why I made a lot of money. And it was a big enough move that happened so quickly. That's how I was able to make that much money. And if you guys haven't seen my TradingView tutorial, check out my TradingView tutorial. So this arrow here just represents where I got in at, where I started to get in at. So I had 100 contracts between those two different strike price calls. And I started scaling in around December 6th. So about a week before CPI, I started scaling in. Once we got down to this support and resistance beam, which is the low 80s, which we had been a month prior and we bounced up. And we were also there a couple years prior, and every single time we hit it, we bounced up. So I was very confident getting into calls at this level. Started getting in on the 6th, I started getting in on the 8th, and then I just kind of laid off for a minute, and then I got in some more once I saw we were getting a nice green candle, and that was the day before. So I got in some more on December 12th, and then the morning of December 13th, this gap up, that's how I made the $30,000. This little teeny tiny move right here, y'all. So when people say there's money to be made in the markets, there's money to be made in the markets. Such a small move. We ended the day on Amazon at $90, and we began the day on Amazon at $95. It was a $5 gap up. We do $5 gaps like almost all the time on Tesla, SPY, QQQ. Like a $5 gap is not a lot. But it's because I had so many contracts. I was in at such a good price. The IV was good. Like everything was just good. And I got right out at the tippy top and ended the day with 83K. Insane, right? That is it. And how I was saying before, it was a pop and drop. So it kind of popped and then dropped. We ended the day pretty much closing the gap. And then the rest of the day, we came down even a little bit lower. And then we just took off. This support beam, that low 80 support beam, held again. And then ever since then, we have just taken off. And right now we are trading at $180 on Amazon. Yeah, that's how I made that money. That was my best trading day ever. And I hope that inspires somebody, because I definitely didn't think December 13th I was going to wake up to that. But I did. Trust yourself, trust your setups, and hopefully everybody can have a day like this.